with you how you can learn to use your emotions to act in best interest, how you can learn to use your emotions to manage yourself. Because there is a missing link in our healing where we bypass our emotions. We are scared of our emotions because we have not been taught how to tune in to them and act in our best interest, or to use our emotions, which are our guidance system, to heal our lives. And that is why sometimes people do some form of healing work, they participate in some form of inner work, but nothing changes. Nothing changes because they miss that element of objective evaluation of triggers, of tuning into their emotions and using those emotions to act in best interest or to make decisions in their lives. So I want to share with you the first thing that you are needing, and this might also help you if you don't know how to start your healing work. You need tools, because usually people get into some form of healing work and they are still struggling because they haven't been provided with tools to manage themselves, to manage life, to address life, to step into their self-leading or self-parenting role. Because if you are going to go to work, you are going to need tools to take with you that you can use or utilize at work. That's the same thing with life. We come across different situations, and you need to have a tool to approach situations and then to apply in individual tools to apply in individual situations that you might encounter. So I will jump in. The first thing you need if you are going to heal your life is a system of living. Because you don't just live unintentionally. You need to be intentional about how you live. And some of us, in fact, many of us or most of us live this way of living, which I'm about to share with you, but without intention, unintentionally. And this system is, to me, I termed it or coined it, love on 3 levels. And love on 3 levels, you'll find this on Amazon. Love on 3 levels is a system where you step into your self-parenting or a self-leadership role. And you are the one who ultimately make decisions about your life, which you do usually in a default way without being conscious of it. You make the decisions. You have a body boundary where you are the one who is in charge of your life. So in that, anything that happens in your life, you are the one who has to ultimately decide what happens and what doesn't. So if you are intentional about love on 3 levels, you step into your role and you take care of your life in 4 dimensions, which are social, physical, psychological, and spiritual. That is your responsibility. You need to look at all those areas and how you are taking charge of your life. And you need to be in charge of your emotions because they guide you and they hold the unmet needs, which then help you to parent yourself. And this is what I'm going to talk about a lot today, unmet needs. And so what you need to do is to start your day intentionally. When you wake up in the morning, in this system of living, you will start your day intentionally by recognizing that you and only you are in charge of your life. And only you has to take responsibility for how you feel and how you behave and how you think. So I usually recommend that you start your day with what I call a self-care habit, which is probably very common And be specific to identify 4 dimensions of existence. To be still. Stillness is important in the morning. Gratitude for the life, no matter what is going on in your life. Self-hugs. You are your own parent now. And reflect. Look into how you are thinking this morning. Take some deep breaths and use affirmations and set an intention for your day. I'm going to have a good day. And that doesn't mean to say life is not going to happen, because this is when then you need the tools that you are going to use to ensure you have a good day or you have a satisfactory day. What I am talking about when I'm talking about a good day, I'm not talking about all days being the same, but you being able to step in when something is happening in your day. Angeline, hi. Would you please share this to friends abroad, please, to the group? Being able to step into your role as your own parent, to take charge of how you feel, to take charge of the decisions you make, to take charge of everything that you are going to do throughout your day. Hi, Eileen. To take charge of anything that you are going to do throughout your day and throughout your life. So this is the first step for you on your system of living, to be the person who is responsible for your life, to the person who takes charge of whatever happens in your life, to be aware of how you are feeling. And this self-care habit that you do in the morning, or you start, thank you so much, Angie, you start in the morning, is helpful for you to improve your emotional baseline. Because when you wake up, maybe you've got some residue of issues from yesterday, from your past, but you need to also live in the present moment. So you need to improve your emotional baseline so that if you were agitated up to an 8 yesterday, you probably went to bed, you slept, it probably went down a bit whilst you were sleeping to about a 6. And when you wake up, you are probably reminded. So before you start remembering your problems in the morning, get into a self-care routine of meditation, of gratitude, of affirmations, of setting an intention, of deep breathing, so that you calm your nervous system down and your baseline improves a little bit as you get into your day, and then you are not that easily triggered by anything or anyone. Because life will happen. You are going to come across things that are going to unstabilize your ground, the ground that you walk on, people who are going to trigger you. And you cannot exclude people who trigger you in this life, but you have to be able to manage. So that's the first thing you need to do for your system of living in the morning, for the first level of love on 3 levels. And throughout the day, you practice mindfulness, you practice being intentional, you reframe your thinking, you assess your behavior and how you show up. And at the end of the day, you assess how you have shown up for yourself throughout the day. And you look into ways that you can change. This is exactly how we behave at work. This is exactly how we manage at work. We go in intentionally, and then we look into ways that we need to improve at work so that we are promoted, so that we enjoy our work, so that we are effective, so that we stay in work. And that's the same thing you want to do for your life, so that you stay in your life, so that you enjoy your life, so that you are effective in your life. And you enjoy your relationship. You need to be intentional to look into what you need to improve, because we are a work in progress and we are here to grow and to enjoy life at the same time. So that's you on your first level. Then on your second level, you have people around you, you have family, you have friends, you have your partner. A lot of people come into healing work looking for a partner. You have colleagues at work, you have people who are close to you, you have neighbors, and you have support groups. You do the same that you do with yourself, to give and receive love in your circles, and maintain boundaries. That's the same thing you do with yourself. You give and receive love with yourself, but you also maintain boundaries so that you moderate what you want, what you give yourself. You moderate your behavior. You moderate your thinking. You moderate how you show up so that anything you do or have is not excessive. So, this is what you do in your circle, and you maintain boundaries, because boundaries are the ones that safeguard your relationships. And then you have a third level. A third level is where you interact with people who you don't know, people you help out, your charitable acts in society. And that is important, because when you do that also, it sort of gives you purpose in life, which also helps you to recognize that you are not the only person with problems in this life. But there are commonalities. There are also people out there who experience life as well as you do, who struggle in life as well as you do, who experience happiness as well as you do. So you need to also help others. So when you have a system of living where you know you are in charge of your life, you have your immediate circle, and you also help others and receive help from others, then you are set. And you have your self-care routine, which improves your best emotional baseline. And the third thing you need now is an objective evaluation tool for your triggers, because this is the kicker and this is the issue with many people. How to regulate their emotions, how to manage their emotions, how to utilize their emotions so that they work in their favor or they use them to make best interest decisions. And this is where I come in. And on top of that, of using those emotions, you also have to have tools within that objective evaluation tool that you use throughout your life. Think of yourself as a child, as a baby, and there's a loving parent for this baby. What are they going to do from the start of the day up to the time that they go to bed? This is the same thing you need to be doing for yourself, to be intentional about how you are looking after yourself, to remember, oh, I've got a baby, I have to go back home, I have to make sure I check in on baby, I have to notice if baby has been fed, baby needs to sleep, baby needs to spend time with me playing. This is exactly how you need to visualize yourself if you want to heal your life. Take charge and be your own parent. So, emotional regulation or objective evaluation of tools. I have an example, the SIFT-SEM tool. This tool is a tool within it's got tools within a tool. And how does it help you? It helps you or encourages you to tune into your emotions and not bypass them. And it doesn't matter whether you are going into a triggering situation. You don't have to wait until the trigger hits, or you are triggered already, or it's after the trigger. And this is why this tool is also helpful for you to heal your trauma, because it can help you to take yourself back to significant incidents in your life where you were traumatized. Pre-trigger, you are going somewhere to see your mother-in-law who doesn't like you. You know what happened last time, what usually happens. Rather than avoid going to see your mother-in-law, learn to do things differently. Parent yourself before you send your inner child to school. You send your inner child to meet your mother-in-law. This is how you manage situations that are challenging. You manage situations where you are triggered, and you can improve these situations and maybe end up not being triggered at all by this situation, or you can end up being less triggered, or you can end up knowing what to do and just knowing that it's a temporary phase. Once I'm there, I'll be there for an hour and it's not for life, and I can go back home and just be present wherever you are. But you also recognize when something triggers you a lot and you are struggling to manage it. You recognize what situations to minimize contact with. But avoiding things is actually avoidance of emotions. Yes, you have to choose whether you are being triggered all the time, but you also need to learn through those situations, from those situations, to process the trigger and see what solutions you can create. So then you've got the intra. Intra is very rare. It's only when you have learned this tool and you might find yourself triggered and you are noticing yourself like a third party in that situation, and then you can regulate yourself. And it does take time. It takes time, it takes work. And then there is post. Post objective evaluation is the best way to start your healing, because usually you can't catch yourself during a trigger. So when the trigger is passed, go back to it and objectively evaluate it and parent yourself and self-soothe. You will notice that those feelings will still come up, and then create solutions and make changes going forward. And you might notice that if you do a post-objective evaluation following a trigger, next time that situation occurs, you might be able to step back. You'll be triggered, but you won't react as you did before if you train yourself, because you created a solution to say, next time this happens, I need to practice self-care, in fact, from now onwards, so that I improve the coating of my emotional baseline. And then I also need to detach and observe how I am feeling instead of reacting. And you might find that you can start with detaching and then you process again. If you do this for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, you will find that you will actually not be interested in reacting. Because the drama in us sometimes makes us want to jump in and create chaos or join in the chaos. But when we start to learn to live peacefully by objectively evaluating how we feel and meeting our unmet needs, being the compassionate parents we need to be for our inner child, we will start to back off from chaos, from drama. We don't want to get involved in drama, because we have known peace and we know how it feels and how priceless it is. So that is how you might start to feel. And this system, this objective evaluation, one other thing I wanted to share with you is that it's not just an exercise you do, then you forget about it. When you create solutions, you need to implement those solutions. And that is where some people who have probably started using this tool, or who might use it on their own, struggle, because they think it's just an exercise they do, then forget about it. The point of doing the exercise is not just to tune into your emotions and create solutions on paper. It's to create solutions that you implement and apply in your life to make changes. So, how do you do this system? You start with, as I said, post, intra, or pre. You start with looking at the question or the trigger. Because the problem, again, with many people is they are in their heads, so they cannot articulate how they are feeling. Many of us do this. We are intellectual. We intellectualize, and we don't get in our bodies to describe how we are feeling. Oh, he is cheating on me. He doesn't text. I am feeling neglected. I am afraid of being abandoned. I feel scared of being abandoned because they are not texting me. You're taking responsibility for how you feel or owning your experience. And make sure to simplify how you feel. Learn to get out of your head when you deal with your emotions. Get into your body And when you get into your body, you will calm down because you'll be scared of what's going on in your body, and it won't have much to do with what's in your head. Put it in words. Articulate your trigger first. I'm feeling scared, and I feel like I'm going to be abandoned because they are not texting me enough. You are owning your experience. And then score yourself from 0 to 10. 0 is calm and 10 is very distressed. How distressed are you on that scale? Take some deep breaths in, take some deep breaths out. And you are imagining yourself now as your own parent of a baby, of a child you love. Hug yourself, rock yourself, and speak kindly to yourself. And look into what is it that might have caused the impact of this trigger. Because like me, for example, if I don't sleep well, any little thing that might not trigger me at all, or that I might not even notice at all, becomes an issue, becomes a trigger. Are you hormonal? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Do you have a recent stressor? Or especially, is your relationship unstable? Because many people get triggered in their relationship and they wonder why. It's because you are not getting along. So any little thing becomes a big thing because already the dynamic is not stable. That is called a pre-trigger. And this is an aspect, again, that I invite people to learn about, to get to know. And it's got layers of unhealed trauma, your anxieties, relationship history with this trigger. Because some triggers are in the 5 senses. Something traumatic from childhood, you might notice a smell that reminds you of a traumatic event, and then you are agitated and you are triggered, and people wonder what is wrong with you. But you need to retrace the reasons why you are feeling as you are feeling. It's because you have been reminded of that situation. Maybe you are now reacting to something else in an inappropriate manner, or you are reacting in a disproportionate manner to a situation because there is something else that you are picking up in your environment from your past that's causing you to be more triggered by something very simple. That's why you find people are very distressed or agitated by some situations that you might think, I don't think it's a big deal. Why are they making it a big deal? Ask them, what other pre-triggers do you think? Do you have unhealed trauma? Do you have a relationship history with something from your past? Maybe that's in the environment. Do you have a recent stressor? Do you have a situation or a relationship that's unhealthy with this, or a past relationship with this person that was unhealthy? Because when we have an issue with somebody, or you don't like this person, so whatever they say doesn't make any sense to you, even if they make a lot of sense. People bring a story to a story. This is the story you bring to a story, and it worsens the impact of the story. It catastrophizes the situation. So it is important that you know your trigger. You know your trigger score, and you breathe, and you also look into pre-triggers, or what worsens right now the impact of your trigger. And you will find that in some cases, this situation doesn't trigger you today as it will do tomorrow. Or it's triggering you today more than it triggered you yesterday, because you didn't sleep very well, because your partner didn't say good morning to you. So you go to work and your colleague does something and it becomes a big issue because you've carried a story from home into your workplace. And this is the reason why you need another layer or another tool, which I forgot to mention in self-care, segment intending. Segment intending is where you parent yourself before you get into a situation, or you use words about how you want to feel when you get into a situation. This is from Abraham Hicks. So let's go on with the objective evaluation. You have recognized your trigger score. You've done some deep breathing. You have recognized pre-triggers. Now get into your body and scan your body from toe to top. And put in words how you are feeling. Not feelings like I'm feeling sad, but how does the sadness feel in your body? And you might also pick up some other cues or communication from your body that might or might not have anything to do with what you are experiencing. And that could also be pre-triggers. Like I'm sitting here right now, I'm feeling pain in my shoulders. I'm feeling my feet are cold. I'm feeling some pain in my knees and a pit in my tummy. And that can also be a contributory factor to why you are being triggered. Maybe you've got some pain that you are not tuning into, that you are not conscious of. That makes you more triggered when someone does something in this moment. Sensations, then mental images. It's very difficult for me to explain this to you, but we do all see mental images, but it's difficult for someone to say, look at the mental images. If you are triggered, you will find that there's a picture that will run through your head. That picture might be a picture of what's going on. You might see red, you might see black. It might be a picture of what went on a long time ago. It might be a picture of something that you are imagining. What do you see with your mind eye? It's in the five senses. You might even see a smell. Yes, a smell. And you might see a taste. Oh, I remember eating this food. Those are some of the images you need to associate with your trigger. And then feelings, straightforward. How are you feeling? Feeling upset, feeling sad, feeling angry. And what are your thoughts? And this is the important part. Another important part, what are you thinking? Because these are the thoughts that push us to behave in a certain way. Oh, he must be cheating on me. That's why he's not texting. Or he probably is with that girl that I thought I saw at his workplace when they were in a meeting. So then that thought triggers you to text him or call him 20 times. Where are you? Why are you not texting me? I have texted you several times and you are not responding. What do you want me to do? Do you not love me? And you are not realizing that you are pushing this person away even further because of your thoughts, because of your cognitive distortions. And as you get into this tool a little bit more, if you are interested, if you want to heal your life, you need also to check what kind of thoughts, what kind of cognitive distortions they are, because that can help you to understand yourself a little bit more when you recognize the kind of cognitive distortion that's associated with your thoughts. And then you explore the root cause. Why are you feeling scared about your partner not texting you? Why? It's a simple question. Go back to the trigger statement that you put down. Now question its why. Why am I feeling this way about what happened? Because your trigger is what happened and how do you feel? And then you need to ask yourself, what makes me feel this way about what happened? And this is the most important part of your trigger evaluation. I'm not saying any part is not important, but the reason why this is the most important part is because it's the area or the part where you recognize your unmet needs. And the unmet need is the reason why you are triggered. What do you need right now that's making you kick off? He didn't text me. I feel scared that he didn't text me because I feel that I might be abandoned. Because where is the unmet need? A sense of belonging, a sense of acceptance, wanting to be loved. There are 25 unmet needs in the 6th Sem journal. And you will find one that's associated with your situation, or more than one. But you can find a few that resonate, and then those are the parts you need to use to parent yourself. Because if you don't do an objective evaluation of your trigger, of your emotions, this is why you are reacting inappropriately. Because you haven't recognized the reason why you are feeling as you are feeling. What is underlying that trigger, that emotion? What makes you act as you do? And that is where you recognize your unmet need for belonging, to be loved. And this is what you need to parent. That's why I encourage you each time to tune into your emotions when you have a trigger. Instead of going to the other person or acting out or trying to bring them closer, be closer to your inner child. And this is where now I'm working on this tool where you need to look into, I have a need to belong. I have a need to be loved. I have a need to be close to this person, to spend time with them. And when I spend time with them, I feel better. So do that for yourself first. It's not like we are saying don't have a keenness for your partner to be around you. But we are saying give yourself what you need from others first. But you can only do that if you know what it is. Because many of us don't really know what it is exactly we are wanting. It's all muddled, it's all convoluted. We can't really put a name to it. But if you do an objective evaluation, you can come to it. You can get to your unmet need from a place of clarity, a place of grounding. You are still using your deep breathing. You are still using your affirmations. You are still hugging yourself. It's okay because mom can still feed the baby whilst she's rocking the baby. Mom can still talk to the baby and affirm the baby whilst changing the nappy. And that's the same thing you can do for yourself. You are soothing yourself. You are calming yourself down. You are grounding yourself. At the same time, you are also trying to work out where to go from here. But the first thing you do is to just ground. Put your feet on the ground and feel the ground beneath you. And just be there for yourself. And just rock yourself and tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Because you need to be there for you before you can ask anyone else to be there for you. Because at the end of the day, we tend to want other people to step in and be there for us, but we can hardly sit with ourselves. And that is hard. So if we can't sit with ourselves, who has time to sit with us, to prioritize us? You can prioritize yourself first, and then you can find kindred souls to support you to co-parent or co-regulate. But you also need to know, the reason why we encourage you to do this is you need to know how to meet your own needs. You need to know how to parent yourself. You need to know how to address your needs before you ask of someone else to do it. But of course, I do understand that when you are starting to co-regulate or to parent yourself, you need co-regulation. Like for this tool, I have worked with some people and I've encouraged them. You need to look for someone to go to work with you to practice this too, so that they are co-regulating you. And you can also use it in your relationship to co-regulate your partner with your partner. You have identified your unmet needs. Now you parent, you soothe yourself, you speak kindly to yourself, you use 5 love languages. You can have some lavender candles, lavender oils, just to calm yourself down. You can have some chamomile tea as long as you are not going to drive. And you need your blanket, your safety blanket. You can have your grounding tool, and all those things are very necessary. Use affirmations. Be grateful. It doesn't matter what you are going through. You are here. And that's something to be grateful for. Just look around you and see things that you can just pinpoint, things that you like. But the first thing is I'm alive. And because I'm alive, I've got an opportunity to work through this situation. And that's what all we can be thankful for. The next thing in your grounding is to apply reframes. You remember those thoughts we were talking about, those thoughts that spiral you into catastrophic thinking or catastrophic behaviors or self-sabotage behaviors. you need to revisit those thoughts. And ideally, when you do this exercise also, when you felt your thoughts, write down your thoughts. When you felt your feelings, write down your thoughts. Because when then you are parenting beyond root cause analysis, there is no room to go back. You need to now do solution-focused rumination. This is where you are now focusing on your solutions. You have dealt with all the negatives, the negative emotions, whatever has hit you, the thoughts and everything. In this area now, you are looking into going forward, regardless of the emotions, which is why you continuously parent yourself. It's okay, I understand, but we've got to do something about this. Let's look into something we can do about this. Then start to reframe your thoughts one at a time. What other perspective is out there? Because many of us think in black and white. There's only one thought process. If he's not texting me, he doesn't like me, he's cheating, he's not a good man. But what other thoughts are out there? What other perspective is out there? Because there's so much perspective out there. If you stand on top of a mountain and you put your perspective down in the village there, you will notice that your perspective is probably almost invisible. Because there's so much perspective out there. Consider them. And this is how we grow, by being open-minded, by looking at other perspective and not excluding our own. That's what we are thinking, but there might be other ways to think too. And that's how we get out of our negative emotions most of the time, negative things that we tell ourselves. And even if that there is truth in the way that he might be seeing other people, there is another perspective, which is he's making a choice. He's got the right to make a choice in his life. If only though he can tell me, but I can't stop him from doing what he wants to do. That's another perspective, because you cannot make people do what they don't want to do. You can only do things for yourself that are within your control. Which is why, again, in your objective evaluation of a trigger, the dichotomy of control comes in. You are focusing on what's within your control throughout the exercise, rather than try to control anyone else or make them do anything. You can only influence by going into the next stage. And this stage where we were parenting is called solution 1. That's the stage of solutions immediate. The immediate solution for you when you are triggered, or even after a trigger, when you are dealing with a trigger, is to ground and self-soothe and make yourself heard. Spend quality time with your inner child to make them feel heard. Because nobody else can do that for you except you. The next stage of solutions is intermediate. What are you going to do when you leave this exercise? What is your plan? And the first solution I encourage you to implement is self-care. Practice a self-care habit to improve your emotional baseline. And if you don't have a system of living, look into your system of living so that you know how to live intentionally. And the next set of solutions is problem-focused solutions specific to this situation. What can I do about this situation? I feel that he's not texting me. And what do I need to do right now? Depending on how often it happens. Let's say it's just happened today. He hasn't texted, so oh my God, I'm catastrophizing. Because people with anxiety do that. They catastrophize and think in black and white, all or nothing. Instead of thinking, okay, this is the first time. Let's see what happens. Maybe something has happened. I just focus on myself and do stuff with myself and see what happens if he hasn't replied, and maybe give it a few days. Your short-term solutions or intermediate are probably now going to work from now up to 3 days. From now to 3 days. What can I do? Focus on myself. What did I want to do with him? Maybe he had plans for a date. If he's not coming for the date, I probably will go on a date with my inner child or on my own, or I'll do some creativity and activity and maybe go to the gym or go for a walk, and or I can call my friend and then we can have a little chat, and I can text my friend also, because usually try to find something that's directly related to your trigger. If it's a text because someone hasn't texted you, maybe journal and then find someone to text, someone close to you, and avoid sort of focusing too much on this problem. You can mention it to your friend. Oh, this person hasn't texted me back, but so I just thought I needed someone to talk to. Don't go on and on. Focus on other things. So I just thought, do you have a time to catch up? Or talk to them a little bit and focus on doing things that are beneficial for your life. Because you can dwell on someone who's living their best life, and you are just in your head worrying about them, and it doesn't help you at all. If you need help with your friend, you're still struggling, I need some co-regulation and support, and then you get out of the call and you start doing things for yourself. You get out. Getting out is a very good strategy sometimes. Getting out and doing something. If it's daytime, if it's night, enjoy a film, write something, or whatever you can do with your inner child, your creativity, anything that you like to do, your projects. And then you create long-term solutions. Because again, this is something we don't think about in life. We think that, oh, that's not a way to live. But when you go to work, you do this for your boss, who is going to fire you sometimes, or a job which won't keep you forever, for life. You won't be at work forever. But you do so much intentionally, and you create short-term solutions, you create long-term solutions, a 5-year plan. Why don't you do that for your own life? Because you can. And that's how you improve the quality of your life. Long-term solutions, especially these relationships where we are having a lot of issues. What are my long-term solutions? Okay, so long-term will probably start after 3 days, because you need to know, you need to be intentional about what's your short term. Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 3 days? And then, because we said after 3 days, what can I do? I'll probably give him 3 days to see if he takes. So long term, again, start with self-care. Continue your self-care habit, because your self-care is helpful for you and your system of living. And then you look into also another area to look at that I hadn't spoken about on the intermediate solutions. Look at your pre-triggers, because your pre-triggers play a role in your triggers. So if I didn't sleep very well, I need to look into my sleep and make sure I improve my sleeping pattern so that I don't get triggered that much. If I have a stressful issue at work, I need to find a solution about my problem at work so that it doesn't affect how I do my relationship, because it can. Anything that we struggle with in our lives elsewhere can affect our lives elsewhere in other areas. So it's important to know that, because you are only one person. If you are having a crisis at work, you are going to probably come home stressed, and then your partner isn't called or texted, and then you're taking it on your partner, and then you end up probably losing your partner, and then you are now reacting at work, and then you lose your job. That's why some people, when they break up, they end up losing a few things at once, because they haven't been intentional about addressing a problematic area. Yes, you have broken up, and we know it's challenging, but you also have to think, well, I've got my job. I'm going to grieve this loss, but I've got my job, and I need to look into ways that I can maintain my job so that I've got something to do, and I've got somewhere to pay my bills, something that can pay my bills. So that's how you think objectively. That's why I call it an objective evaluation of triggers. So long-term self-care, and then after 3 days, what might you do? If they haven't texted after 3 days, maybe you want to send a text message. Oh, I enjoyed the time we spent together last time. I wondered if you would like to catch up again. I would love to do it again. If you don't mind, no pressure. Nicely. And you also look into focusing on other areas of your life again. and maybe looking into whether there's a problem in the relationship, and looking into if they don't respond, then maybe you need to let go. Or if it's somebody you are in a long-term relationship with, you need to probably find a way at some point to say, you know what, we really need to have a chat about this and see where we are going. Because I feel confused at the moment, and I need you to let me know if there's something that I need to know, because I can't just stay in the dark. That's it. No pressure. Learn to communicate in a way that's inspiring. And you might also need to start inner child work. Because your patterns, they've got deeper roots. And if you're finding that you've got these patterns, apart from using the objective evaluation tool, you need to address your trauma. You need to address your childhood. You need to address the type of parents who raised you, how you were raised, how you were loved. You need to address significant events in your childhood that were traumatic, and significant events that were helpful or empowering, so that you can learn to balance your life. You can learn to let go of the past and maybe utilize the strengths you had in the past to improve your now, and to learn to live in the present moment. Because when you are constantly triggered and you react and you stay in unhealthy relationships, you are staying in your past. You are stuck in your past. There is something that needs to be addressed. Your inner child is old. That's why your inner child is reactive. And until or unless you reparent your inner child and make them feel heard, that debt is going to just keep you constantly stuck in unhealthy behaviors and patterns and unhealthy relationships. But you can do something about it. You can improve your life by taking responsibility for how you feel. Those emotions. People think emotions are a weakness, but that's where living well starts, by tuning in and parenting yourself. That is what I wanted to share with you today. There might be things that are missing in the system that I've shared with you, but if you start inner child work, you create solutions about what you want to do, and also to strengthen your creativity and your vitality, to exercise and to create, and to focus more on yourself. Make sure you visualize the life you want to live. I would like to be in a relationship where my partner texts me, reciprocates, and we communicate, and any issues are resolved. Visualize that and use an affirmation. You might need to use an affirmation. I gravitate towards healthy relationships where there is communication, and use that mantra every day. You are writing your solutions, and you have finished writing your solutions. You ground. If you are still distressed, ground. Look at 5 things that you can see, 5 things you can touch, 5 things you can smell, 5 smells, 5 tastes, and 5 sounds. That brings you back to the present moment. Or you count furniture, or you name things around you. And then probably in your intermediate solutions, you have promised yourself, after this, I'm going to go out for a walk, or I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to go out on a date to eat with myself. I'm going to do this with my kids. Then you need to make sure you've got those solutions planned, and you need to implement them. You finished your exercise, you assess your trigger score. After breathing, take your deep breaths in and out. This is what you do throughout. You hug yourself. Thank you, inner child. I'm glad we have sorted this out. And then you do a cathartic shake or a head shake, or whatever you can do, or you run on spot, jog on spot briefly. And then you assess your trigger score again, your final score. When you do that with yourself, you might find that the trigger score will go down. The reason why the trigger score goes down is because you have taken the time to be with yourself. You have understood where you are coming from. You now understand the reason why you are feeling as you are feeling. And you now have a plan of action, something to do about your situation. And you have also released your emotions, your negative emotions, and that can help to shift the sensations, and that can reduce your trigger score, even if it's by 1 point or 2 points. Usually, people do experience a great change after this exercise. But that's not all. You have to continue, because you promised yourself that you are going to go for a walk, and you promised that you are going to focus on yourself, and you promised that you are going to do a self-care habit, and you also promised that after 3 days, this is what you are going to do. You need to do it. It's not just a written exercise or a sitting exercise. Some people might think, oh, I've got the system journal, so I'm just going to write in the journal. No, you have to feel. You have to feel your emotions, how you are feeling, and put it in words. What you are thinking, what your inner critic is saying, and put it in words. And then you have to use that to identify, oh, I'm feeling like this and thinking like this because I really need to, I'm wanting to be with my partner, to spend time together. And that means I've got a need for belonging and to spend quality time. So yeah, so what can I do about that? What can I do about that? Because you've got clarity now. And when you have clarity, that's when you know how to navigate the situation. And the whole point that you have taken a step back to do this assessment will also help you to detach when you've got the solutions. You will still feel a pang. And this is where we want to go now. You have done the exercise, you have journaled, and you have written your score. You might, on occasion, maybe on your walk, it still comes. He's not texting me. This is where you become the parent you need again. What do you do for a baby who keeps crying? You still soothe them. Oh, it's okay, baby, I understand. Can you check what else is wrong? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's all right. Give things time. You are an adult now, but you still have those childhood wounds, like a baby, like a child. So soothe yourself like the mother you need, and talk to someone. Soothe yourself, constantly soothe yourself. And this is what that's why we need tools. Because sometimes we do these exercises and then we think it ends there. It doesn't. You need to continuously soothe yourself. When you are in an encounter where you are feeling triggered, you need to have the right tools for the situation. You are going into a meeting, or maybe, let's go stay on that issue of your partner not texting. And maybe they say, I need to talk to you. And you are now panicking and thinking, oh my God, what are they going to say? Or they say, let's meet for a date. And it's after these 3 days and you are still holding resentment. And you're thinking, I think I'm going to have to talk to them and do another objective evaluation. What are my needs right now? I need to be understood. So what can I do if I need to be understood? I need to understand myself first. I love you. I care for you. I'm here for you, inner child. And whatever happens, the two of us are together for life. And I would like you to understand that. I'm going to stand up for you and I'm going to act in your best interest and do that. And whatever happens out there, we are going to do to see what happens. We're going to have a good time today, but we are also going to probably let him know how it felt when he didn't text for 3 days. And you've got a plan. And then you hug yourself, you affirm yourself, take deep breaths in and out. Deep breathing is underrated. It's a very important aspect of living. Well, you go in now, you've got a plan, and then, oh, hello. Live in the present. You want the relationship. It's also important that they feel safe around you, because maybe they didn't text you because they are always being told what to do or constantly reminded, you are not texting me, and so they are tired. So go in there intentionally and say, I would like to be heard. At the same time, I also want to inspire this person because I want this relationship. Because many people live with their enemies, or they create enmity in their relationships by the way they interact with their partner. They are thinking, oh, I'm being hard done by and all that. But you also need your partner to have something to come home to. Your partner needs to be inspired to be in this relationship because they are not here to be controlled. So when you go in there, you've got your need to be understood that you have articulated in the other system. So you go in there, oh, you're going to have a good time. Oh, I really missed you. It would be nice. I just felt that it would have been nice if you had told me if there was something going on, because I was worried when I didn't hear from you. Like that, I don't think anyone can react to that. But if you say, well, you don't text me, you go and then you are done, and then now you are calling me after 3 days, oh God, they are not going to be inspired to come back again. So you need to be thinking about how you are showing up, as well as also honoring yourself, and also making sure that you are communicating and expressing your needs, but in a compassionate way, in a way that makes them want to step up, that makes them want to step into their role, so that your relationship continues. Unless you don't want the relationship anymore, in which case, yes, you meet them, they've made an effort to meet you, and you've made an effort to meet them, and then you're back on the issue of complaining, of telling them off and all that. And then you go another 3 days again without talking. And eventually it either becomes a cycle of abusive relationship, or the relationship ends. And then you wonder why. But it's all because you didn't take the time to detach and tune into how you were feeling, to understand why you felt as you did, and to find a way to give yourself what you needed before you went and you gave it to them, to ask them to give it to you. Because this is the problem. We want others to do these things for us, but are we able to do them for ourselves? Hi, Nita. This is what I wanted to share with you today. If you want to start healing work, I've got 2 kits. There are 2 kits on Amazon. There's 3 of them which have got like a guide on how to start inner work, because a lot of people are stuck on the how to start. And it's important that you find a way. And the important thing also is to be consistent. Not to say, oh, I did the system, it didn't help me, because you did it for 2 days, for 3 days. You have to do it for the rest of your life. I still do system on almost a daily basis, maybe not in the way that I'm sharing with you, because I can do it now in 1.5 minutes, in 90 seconds, because I know where to go and the tools that I need to implement. So you need to practice, because when you practice something, it becomes a way of life. When you do something regularly, you strengthen the muscle. And when you strengthen a muscle, it just comes to you naturally. You just do it. Like I have had a system. I started at some point a while ago to take some deep breaths. And what then happened was, each time I was triggered, the first thing that would happen is I would breathe. And that breathing would help me to detach. And then I don't get involved in the situation or get, activated to the point of self-sabotage. I just take a step back and I reflect, and then I know what to do. And it's not that I don't react. I did tell you, if you were here when I started, or if you go through the video again at some point, the main challenge any person who has healed will have are pre-triggers. If you have done inner work and you know you are standing in your worth, the only reason why you can get triggered and react is because of pre-triggers. Because life happens to all of us. We might have something that's stressful. But the thing about it is, because I've got system, I can address that stress. If I've got a life question, I can address it with my system. But system can not address my sleep and hormones sometimes. And that's when I might get triggered, when I haven't slept. Yes, I have to create solutions about sleeping, but sometimes you can go to bed early and whatever, but sometimes sleep doesn't come. And that's where the problems can start. That's when I can be triggered. But still, because I've got a self-care habit, the impact of my triggers is not the same. It's not as it was a long time ago. Believe you me, sometimes people see you and they think, oh, how do they do it? I used to be reactive. I used to be very, very reactive, and I don't like it. But if that happens now, it might happen once a year or twice a year. And I'm being honest with you, to that point that I used to be, it's very rare. But that's because I'm a work in progress, and I keep trying my best so that if that happens, I have to find a way to say, no, this is not right. But also, there are some urges which I used to have a long time ago, like wanting to be physical,